Hi Capricorn, welcome to your May 2020 Astrology 33 bonus love reading. Thank you to those of you who have liked, viewed, shared, subscribed, and donated to the channel. I appreciate all of that. For those of you interested in booking a personal reading with me, I'm actually going to be taking a bit of a break from that, but keep an eye out on the community section of my channel because I'll make an update there if I do decide to start them up soon, or worst case, by the time I do the June videos, I have an update for you guys there. All right, as far as what we have in front of us, we have what I call the bridge and the gap spread, and the way it works is the cards on the left side represent your energy toward the connection with your main love interest, and the cards on the right side represent their energy toward the connection. These are the past energies, present energies, future energies. Then once we get through those, we'll actually pull some oracle cards to gain some additional insight. That's where the bridge and the gap dynamic comes into play. And as far as the decks we're using, on the left side we have the Lover's Path Tarot, on the right side we have the Tarot of Sexual Magic. All right, so, and also keep in mind this is a general spread too, so if you feel, I'm going to refer to the cards on this side as your energy and the cards on this side as their energy, but if you feel like those energies are flip-flopped, then definitely trust that intuitively as well. All right, so with all that out of the way, past energy on your side, we have fertility. So this is actually the equivalent to the Empress card in traditional tarot, and that's a very Venusian energy, a very earthy energy, and part of that could be because we have a lot of Taurus energy going on right now, and maybe you guys are just feeling that, especially that's your fifth house of romance and creativity as well. But yeah, what this could be saying is that for some of you, I feel like this is at the very least a connection you felt like had long-term potential, and because of that, maybe you guys started to discuss possibly having kids with each other. And also with that too, given that there's so many pets around, that might have been a compromise that you guys had too. Like, all right, well, let's get a pet together, see how that goes. If that goes smoothly for us, then maybe we could actually consider having children. One of those types of dynamics. Um, could even be a Leo you're dealing with as well, since we do see the lion in the background, which would seem out of place with domestic animals, right? So maybe that's who you're dealing with. But yeah, that's what I'm seeing there. Past past energy on their side, we have the Chariot. So this is actually the major arcana card for Cancer, and for you guys, that's your opposite sign of romantic relationships. So this could definitely say that if it's not an actual Cancer you're dealing with, and that could be the case, Cancers often have Leo placements and vice versa. But if that's not who you're dealing with, it could just be saying that this is the energy they were bringing to the connection too, which is to say they too saw long-term potential and that serious commitment between the two of you. So definitely looks like you guys were moving forward in a pretty positive way in the past. In the present position, we have the Queen of Arrows. So this is actually the court card for Libra energy. So again, we see more Venus influence, especially, we even have the name Venus on the card for this particular one. But so on the one hand, this could again point to receptivity on your part, where you're just letting things come to you, kind of going with the flow. You're not being, aggressive. You're just letting things come your way. But oddly enough, with this particular spread, I'm getting the vibe that maybe this is also for some of you a bit of an ultimatum type energy where you're kind of digging your feet in, as far as it's not so much just being out of receptivity, but more like, okay, this is how I want things to go, and you're not budging from that perspective. So maybe that's not the case for all of you, but that's what I'm feeling here for some reason. And I do have to say, too, this being a Libra energy, that's your 10th house of career and social status as well, and you guys are the natural ruler of the 10th house. So it could just be one of those things where you're really digging your feet in as far as how you want the relationship to play out. In the present position on their side, we have the moon. So this could just represent that they're going through some confusion right now. So, okay, let's say it's around kids, right? Like maybe you guys were both on the same page about having kids, right? Maybe you were starting to put that plan together. And let's say now with all the uncertainty going on in the world, right? Maybe they might be having second thoughts about that. Like, okay, everything's going crazy. We don't know what's going to be happening financially, right? Like maybe this isn't the best time. So I feel like that could be what's happening there, where maybe the current state of things might have them having doubts about that. Not necessarily forever, right? But maybe this is making them want to delay it for a while, whereas you might still be, digging your feet and like, no, we need to move forward with this, right? And, when things like this happen, it can play out for different people in different ways. Like your reaction to it might be, well, now, it's a now or never, right? You never know. You're not promised tomorrow. And then their perspective might be like, wow, this would be a really bad time to try to have kids because who knows what's going to happen, right? With the economy and just with health in general. So maybe they're having second guesses there. So that's what I see from their side. And I do have to say, if it's not around children, I'm definitely picking up on a big vibe of that for some reason. But if this is just more of a general thing too, it could just be saying with all the Venusian energy that you're, coming through where, like I said, getting a vibe where you're really just letting things come to you. It might be confusing them a little bit, because maybe they're like, all right, is this person into me or not? Because if we look at the body language that she has there, she's leaning away from them, right? But still looking towards the cards on that side. So they might be unsure, like maybe you want them to chase after you a little bit or prove themselves in some way. So maybe they're like, is this person interested in me or not? So it could be some confusion around the connection in general right now. And especially if it is a Cancer you're dealing with, because that Venus retrograde is going to be in their 12th house. So, that could definitely cause some confusion for them. All right, future. Sorry if you guys hear the rain outside. We have kind of a pretty intense storm right now. But future energy on your side, we have the 5 of coins and the 10 of coins. So a huge contrast in energy here. This is actually Taurus energy and this is Virgo energy. But aside from that, I mean, very different artwork, right? Here, this is often the 5 of Pentacles energy is often referred to as the being left out in the cold card. And then the 10 of Pentacles shows a lot of success. So a few different ways I could see this playing out. Maybe because they're having their doubts around children, especially since we actually see the child in the artwork here. This could be saying that, you might take that as a complete rejection of the idea altogether, and you might actually believe the connection because of that. Or at the very least feel unsupported in the connection, and you might move on and say, well, I'm just going to look for another connection. Because what comes to my mind here, the word coming to mind looking at this card is vision, right? Because it looks like they're looking at out of a window and there's all that, fertile land out there. So could just be saying that, and maybe that's what discussion needs to take place, because it does seem like you guys were on the same page in the past. So, especially for those of you, if this is around children, it might just be, for example, all right, since we do see Venus there and we said that's your 10th house, career, and social status, this is just a generic example, but let's say your career is unimpacted. Maybe you're still doing well financially, but maybe they work in a field where maybe there's not that type of certainty and security as far as their job goes. So maybe they're like, wow, this would be a really bad time to possibly have kids because I don't know where, if I'm even promised a next paycheck, right? So maybe that's where they're coming from. But maybe at the same time, they might not be telling you that, right? With the moon. So there could just be a lack of communication between the two of you. So if they put the brakes on wanting to have a kid all of a sudden, you might take that as a huge rejection of the relationship. So really, I feel like for most of you, long story short, I feel like it's more of a communication thing, So you might just perceive their change one way, and then they might not realize that. And so with the 10 of Pentacles here, what that could be saying is even if you feel this way right now, maybe let's say by the time we get to Virgo season, since this is a Virgo energy, you might feel differently. You guys might be back on track by then. So there's something to keep in mind there. And for some of you, I do have to say, be careful too around, like I was saying, if you guys were going to make a power play, right, to say, almost to force their hand, we'll say, well, if you don't want to have kids, I'm going to leave, right, and I'm going to pursue another connection. So I feel like intention is very important there. Future energy on their side is justice. So, whereas we see the Libra energy on your side in the present, they have that energy in the future. So to me, I feel like more than anything, this is representing them getting back on track with the connection, but maybe it'll just take them a little bit longer. So like I said, I feel like something's throwing them for a loop here. And my general feeling is that this is around just the uncertainty going on in the world. I don't feel like it's anything personally towards you. It's just that they might have like fears around the entire situation in general. But yeah, With this being the future energy, this represents balance, of course, and like I was saying, for some of you, maybe right now you might feel like you're going through a bit of a rough patch, but at the very least, it looks like it's saying at the longest, maybe by Virgo season, you guys will be back on track in that regard. And for some of you, maybe in Libra season, right? But what I'm seeing here, though, is that this is what always sticks out to me with the Justice card in this deck is that she's looking towards the cards on this side, right? But then her legs are leaning away. So I feel like the warning there would be, again, like I said, if you try to leave the connection to almost force their hands, that might backfire as far as they might feel like that forces their hand. Like, well, okay, I guess they're leaving. I guess they left the connection. I guess I'll leave too, right? Because we do see, to me, those fruits there in the scale represent fertility. So to me, it could just be one of those things where this is saying that they will come back around to it again. And like I said, maybe around Virgo, maybe around Libra time. So it might take a while for them to get there. But I feel like this is something where they can restore the balance and the connection. In the future, it just might require a little bit of patience on your part. And like I said, I don't feel like the doubt here would be towards you necessarily. Just I feel like the climate of everything going on right now in the world is really what's throwing them for a loop. And, I feel like you just might be at risk of taking it personally for some reason this month. All right, bottom of the deck on your side, we have contemplation. So this is actually the equivalent of the Hermit card, which is Virgo energy for you guys. And given that that's ninth house, this could just be saying that maybe you're trying to look at things from a higher perspective, like saying, okay, should I stay or should I go, right? So maybe you are weighing your options and you are actually going to be a bit patient about it. And if that's the case, I really do feel like that's the best thing. I think for your main reading for May, the name of the video was Watch and Wait. I don't remember exactly what the context was there, but if you look at that and then you take contemplation, this could just be a continuation of that energy. So maybe you guys want to check that out. If this resonates with you so far, it might give you some additional guidance. All right, bottom of the deck on their side, we have the Knave of Swords. So yeah, again, I'm almost getting that same vibe here where this could represent your energy, right? Where you're like, well, yeah, I definitely want to have kids right now. And they might be like, yeah, I don't know if that's the right thing right now. And with the Knave of Swords too, there could be a bit of shyness around the communication around that too. So they might not know quite how to say it to you. And that could be what's causing the problem, quite frankly, because again, I feel like if they were straightforward with you and said to you, look, I don't know if this is the right time to do this with all the stuff going on, I feel like you probably would have received it well. So I really think that's just the primary issue. I feel like for a lot of you is just going to be that there's a lack of communication right now, or they just don't communicate their concerns clearly. So you might think that it's a personal thing towards the relationship, where really it's just their general feelings, like, feelings of uncertainty about what's going on in the world right now. But we'll see what the Oracle cards add to the mix. So first we'll see if we get anything from the Mystic Moon Oracle deck here. And I did pre-shuffle this deck. For those of you who haven't watched this deck video from me before, what I'm looking for here is just some jumpers. So first I'll be looking for unspoken messages from you to them, and then from them to you. And if we shuffle for a while and nothing comes up, I'll just take that as a sign to keep it moving, since it's just a general reading. All right. So again, let's see if we get any unspoken messages from you to them. And again, sorry if you guys hear that rain in the background. It's getting a little intense. Okay, nothing coming up yet, but I'll give it a few more shuffles before we move on. All right, nothing there, but next we'll see if we get any unspoken messages from them to you. Okay, nothing coming up there either. I'll give it a few more shuffles though before we move on. Okay, yep, nothing coming up there. So next we'll move on to the Wisdom of the Oracle deck. Same situation here. I did pre-shuffle this deck, and we're just looking for one card here. So we'll see what we get. Oh, got one there. All right. You guys got flexible. There it is. All right, well, it won't focus, but you guys can see it. There's the artwork, and the number is 19. All right, let's see what it says. Okay, it says teachability, open-mindedness, being adaptable without compromising what's most important. The Oracle's message: a tree's roots are solidly planted in the ground, yet its branches can bend in a hurricane, whereas a rigid structure like a building would come crashing down. Consider how the tree remains supple and secure when everything around it may be in shambles. This is how you need to be now. Willing to learn new things, teachable, malleable, yet firmly grounded in who you are. Common sense is important, but so is an open mind. Stay curious, stay open, stay aware. At this time, others will be more flexible with you too. So definitely an interesting message there as far as I was saying, like for whatever reason I was picking up on a vibe where you guys might not be budging on a certain situation. And like I said, for a lot of you, I feel like it could be around children, but hopefully that resonated for you guys there. And then the relationship message says in every relationship, it's important to be open to new experiences and learning new things. Letting go of rigidity is what's required right now. You don't always have to be right all the time, do you? It's okay to come to a happy compromise. You can still get your needs met. It's a beautiful day when you meet halfway. The appearance of this card in a reading could also signal that you have met someone new who may not be your type, but who will turn out to be so special that you can easily release your old ideas about what sort of partner is right for you. Be flexible. You'll be happy you made that choice. So definitely an interesting message there as well. And with the compromise thing, like I said, maybe that's. I feel like you guys just might have to have a talk and maybe check out the reading for their sign. Maybe that'll help give you guys a little more context. But yeah, I feel like if anything, it's just a bit of miscommunication here, and primarily because I see that moon card on their side. I don't feel like it's a deception. I feel like, like I said, especially if it's around kids, let's say, and because it looks like you guys were on the same page in the past. So maybe it's just the general uncertainty that has them having second guesses. But it looks like in the future they can come back around, but you just have to be careful around that, because if you end up leaving the connection, right, in search of something different, they might view that as very final. So that's why I say be careful around your intentions there. Like if it really is a deal breaker, for example, if this isn't around, maybe if it is around children and from the beginning they said they definitely don't want children, then yeah, it's understandable. That's a pretty huge difference to have and still go through the relationship, right? But if it's more like they were on board and maybe now they're a little bit on the fence about it, I feel like it's more of a temporary thing. All right. So hopefully that resonated for you guys. We'll wrap up there and I'll see you all next month. All right. Bye.